Hey everybody, this is A-Town, and you're listening to the Rising Rush Podcast. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Rising Rush Podcast, where we talk everything Dragon Ball Legends related, such as news, meta, hot takes, you name it. I'm your host A-Town, alongside with Opsto, Desla, and Glow. And we're going to start off by talking about the weekly updates from the weekly reset of the 21st of February. I know there was a long maintenance, about 10-hour maintenance when the update did drop, which came with a whole slew of quality of life improvements for the game. First and foremost, there is a player survey that's available. It's going to be available through the 29th of February, talking about the battle hour and the social media video that kind of encompasses your whole history of playing Dragon Ball Legends. So if you want to give feedback on that, or side note, give some feedback on Super Vegeta, by all means do so. We got an Ultra Rose banner. He is back, so all future or powerful opponent mains, if you're willing to summon for him, the banner is available from the 21st of February through the 2nd of March. Also, the Limit Break banner is also live 26th of February. If you need any additional like Z power or LF Z power for any teams that you made, I strongly recommend on going in on. I think it's about 4,000 CC to kind of get everything, so by all means dive in on that. Rating Match Proud preseason has begun, which is part of the 5.0 update starting from the 21st of February through March the 5th. We'll have a segment really diving deep on that, talking about the overall impact into the meta and how things have changed. We also have the champion bonus that's here up, which you'll get up to 500 chrono crystals if you do the mission every single day. The equipment bonanza, that's going to be available from the 23rd of February through March the 1st. So if you need to get your equipments upgraded, definitely start using your erasers around that time frame. Master Pack Z has also updated with a couple of units, i.e. being the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and the Yellow Bardock. So if you need those units, I guess you can summon for them. Also, the purple Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the older one, years ago, received a platinum equipment, which he's doing great. We'll do a whole breakdown on that. The Cell Revival Zenkai, that is also live, which we'll have a segment doing a breakdown on that as well. And then we'll take a moment talking about the Ultras or LFs that may be coming up within the next week or so. And we'll talk about Dragon Ball related news, and then we'll close from there. So let's go ahead and start off with the 5.0 update. Glow, I'll start off with you. What do you think about and this is not PvP, but just the overall update itself. What do you think about the UI changes and how everything is like changed for the game for you? Think it was a plus, or you think they missed with this one?
I think they missed a bit because one, the game has been moving a bit slower and people have had some trouble logging in. A lot of people have situations where they'll just enter into the game and then all of a sudden it says communication error and they just can't access the game.
Yeah,
Oh
I've been
yeah.
getting
I've
that.
seen some people be locked out for maybe 5 minutes, some for 10, and a little ridiculous because it's like people have to completely like exit out of the app just to enter in.
Yeah.
Because they like it's just a whole server issue. The whole update kind of felt a little wonky. The UI, I mean, sure, the changes to what units are effective, them adding inverses, that's cool. That's fine and dandy. The changes they made to equips, which are we going to talk about now? Or we're going to talk about later.
We'll talk about now. Let's talk about the equip. So they did make some changes on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they made a change where you can no longer, when you're upgrading an equip, you can no longer, when you're re-upgrading a slot,
Mm-hmm.
you can't,
Like you
you
can't
can't,
use chrono crystals, right?
you can't re-upgrade. You can't do re-upgrades with CC anymore with Chrono Crystals. You can't. You
Mm.
can still guarantee upgrade, which means move it up guaranteed by a certain amount with Chrono Crystals, but you can't do it anymore with re-upgrading. So like 30 times you do a re-roll, you can't use it with Chrono Crystals anymore.
Mm.
Which the reason for it is kind of a legal reason. It's more so it kind of has to do with like the fact of like chrono crystals are technically real money because you can buy them, and the equipment stuff is essentially the equipment's in this game is essentially a gotcha within a gotcha.
Yeah.
And that can cause some problems, and they're kind of just like, yeah, we'd rather just take it out.
Makes sense.
So they rather not risk it there. And yeah, everything else with the UI, it's kind of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about the VP match later, which I got a lot to say on that.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to say. Deza, what do you think about the whole 5.0 update besides Proud PvP? Do you like the UI changes or no impact or anything like that?
For me, I don't know. Like I'm kind of in the boat where I'm not really super passionate either way as far as how I've received it. I haven't really bumped into the login errors myself because I've like just I don't know. Ever since I think like about a week ago, I've just been touching the game less. Honestly, like my interest has been kind of like started like
Taper off a little
steadily
bit?
decline a bit. Yeah, so not gonna lie, it's fine. Like I definitely can understand where people's grievances are coming from with their having those problems. Obviously, it'd be annoying if you're trying to like play and like get in maybe like more than 1 or 2 matches a day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As a whole, I don't really think I have too many problems with it personally. Like it's pretty inoffensive, at least to me.
It's probably gonna take them a while to fix that too, which is gonna be a little annoying for the players. Opsto, what do you think about the update? Has this the login affected you?
For the most part, it's just business as usual. But I am getting the login errors, but they don't last very long, like a minute or two.
That's a positive. Well, I mean, rather not have any errors at all. So, Toshi, or if you and your dev team's listening, great that you've done this 5.0 update. But if people can't log in to play, then this update don't really mean much of anything. As for somebody that comes from a poor corporate background, like I understand there's a stabilization phase that needs to go through, especially with something that's changing the UI and all that. But get your IT team on it because we ain't got time for that right now. So let's go ahead and move on to the equipment and the Zenkai. So let's talk first with the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan Platinum Equip, because from what they offered, this Gohan is more than what they offered this Super Vegeta that just got released about a week ago. So for slot 1, he gets up to 50% damage inflict, 60% to base strike and base blast, and 60% to both defenses. For slot 2, he's getting 15% HP, which is great, an additional 60% damage inflict, an additional 30% to blast damage inflicted, and he's getting up to 55% sustained damage cut with 50% key recovery, which is crazy. And then slot 3, this man is getting -5 to art cost, randomly draws 2 cards when his character uses a special art, so the green card if you have 3 or fewer, and applies the following effects when this character enters the battlefield. He gets 50 key and draw card art speed, which currently has draw card art speed already in the kit for I think a set amount of timer count. So with this, he's getting double the draw card art speed for a good chunk of the match. Let's start off with you, Desla. What do you think about the equipment so far? Do you think this super overtops the Super Vegeta and just puts him on the wayside, or do you feel like this is gonna put this Super Gohan back into the meta at any point?
It's kind of the same situation as most of the other ones we've gotten so far, where these guys who get these plats are nothing really more than novelties, really. And the reason for that is because, unless you're an exception like Purple Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you need to have like modern elements to your kit to actually be impactful with your equipment's implementation in the game, and Gohan has nothing like that. So yes, it's funny to watch him go Unga Boonga and do a lot of damage, but that's all he does. So for me right now, I don't really see why you'd use him besides just to I guess have fun. I don't know. If you really want to try and argue him being in a competitive setting, like I don't really know what you're doing, but it's definitely like a thing of where comparing his plat to the one that Super Vegeta forgot, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's funny how his actually got more damage inflicted, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter because there was no plat in the world that was going to save that god-awful Super Vegeta. But, I mean, it's more so about sending a message, right? And, like, it's pretty clear that no matter which way they can possibly find a way to do it, they've always going to find a way to show off their Gohan bias. So, I always just found that funny. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Team Sun Family, right? Glow, what do you think
gotta
about
love it.
that? You think he's worth using, or is he just a novelty for bench, or what?
He's not even for bench. Like the problem with a lot of these 1% plats is the stuff they're giving is good, but you're not giving them cover null. If you want any of these units to be good, if it's not a support type unit, which
Mm-hmm.
notice of all the 1% units they've given, they've avoided support types. Because they know very well that if they give it to a support type, that support type is gonna be cracked. Like if a support type got any of the equips that these 1% other 1% are getting right now, like they'd be really, really good. They don't want to do that. They're giving it all to these offensive units, which in theory it's like, oh, they should be good. But they don't have cover null. The only good one we've seen is the SS4 Goku. And that's
Mm-hmm.
because he actually has cover null. Every other one doesn't have cover null. And if they don't have it, they're not good enough.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these older units in their platinum equip, what they'll probably need to kind of keep them meta relevant is some type of like cover null within their kit, and then also making themselves color neutral to combat against a lot of these, dominant colors that are out here, or other teams that are super
I wouldn't even
juicing.
say color neutral
Not
because I
even?
wouldn't even say color neutral is even needed because they're getting so much base on top of damage inflicted, on top of like amazing 15% per pures on their equips. Like the stats will cover them. Like they do good damage even against like type neutral or sometimes depending on the unit.
Mm.
Like SS3 Goku, he'll do okay damage against like type disadvantage. Like they have the damage. Like the SS2 Gohan, he has the damage. SS4 Vegeta has the damage. The yellow Frieza had the damage. The SS Blue Goku had the damage. The SS3 Angel Goku had the damage. The problem kept coming back to the fact of we don't have cover null. If you don't have cover null, you can't do anything.
Or any kind of disruption, right? So like if your opponent's on the offensive, how are any of these older units going to stop that? If they can't reduce key or
Yeah,
lock a
they don't have.
card or lock like main ability, like what can you do to stop them from killing you?
Yeah, and the only one that had that was like Fat Boo, and then we saw how little he mattered at the end of the day.
Too funny. What about you, Opsto? Do you think this platinum equip is going to do anything for the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, or are people just overhyping the unit right now?
I mean, sure, he's doing a ton of damage, but of course, like everyone else has been saying, he needs more than that.
Yeah.
He needs actual utility to compete, and he has nothing. The only thing he has is damage.
That is true. And just reviewing his kit right now, like he gets a bunch of key recovery. He gets strike damage inflict. When his health, is a certain threshold, he gets more damage inflict. Third unique, more damage inflict and draw card art speed. And then fourth unique, even more damage inflict. So all these videos that people are showing on social media is literally just him doing damage. It's not him really doing any kind of like, disruption or any additional support to the team, right? Like I'm not sure if he has any, does he have any support in this kit?
Which is like him of all units, if he had gotten cover null, I think he would have been like
A
a
problem.
really good unit. Because even content creators as they're using the unit are like, yeah, this unit is actually doing really good damage, but he has no cover null.
And his blue card does major, his ultimate does massive.
His green card now giving key
And
and
two
drawing you a card.
cards, not one card, but two cards,
Like
which is
that's
crazy.
2 cards, like that's massive. His ult having like a massive health restore debuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has so much stuff in his kit that like if he just got cover null, he would have been so good.
At least I think we have our verdict here. Like overall, this platinum equip is great for Gohan if you need a beat stick
Oh,
for
he
your
does have
team.
support, yeah.
How much?
Like what, 25% for Sun Family or
Depends
something?
on it depends on how many battle members you have. So if
Oh
you
yeah,
have
you're
3
right.
battle members, 20% support to Hybrid Saiyan and Sun. See, him of all units, if he had cover null, he would have been cooking.
At least this is a learning curve for any future plats that they decide to come out. And you did make a good point. Like if they decide to give a support unit a platinum equip, like the blue Bardock or the blue Cooler, which I mean it's
Oh,
about that
Bardock's not
time.
getting one. Bardock's
You
never
don't think
getting one.
he's never getting one? That's
They,
it?
they they genuinely hate Bardock. They hate that unit.
Aren't we in a current time where we have units that are so strong that Bardock won't really do much for the meta? Do you feel that way, or do you
Oh,
feel?
it's not about what Bardock can do. It's about the shenanigans he enables. It's never been about what Bardock's damage is. It's the fact that you're giving probably the best support overall in the game
It absolutely is.
to every single Super Saiyan. What made the Super Saiyan team eventually a liability was because Bardock couldn't eat hits. You give Bardock a plat that makes him even somewhat durable, and you're looking at a problem. Where, like, I'm gonna be so honest with you, you don't even need cover null when you're killing your opponent in 2 cards.
Color disadvantage, 2 strike cards, and it's critting. That's it. That's all you need.
Like before the animation has even finished, you're down to 1 HP.
It's terrible. Well
Ridiculous. They're not bringing Blue Bardock back. If they do, God help us.
so I guess we'll see if they decide to give any support units any. I would like to see the blue Cooler get one, just so we can have LOE back in the scene, because it's like they're just not there. And then like a lot of their units is mixed between like strike and blast, like the Goku Frieza, the new forgotten yellow Frieza during the Legends Festival. I don't even remember what his kit does anymore. I know he gets 2 ults. That's it. Other than that, I think he does like power down, which is nice, but like you're not seeing any LOE teams really making any impacts in the meta, but I digress.
Yeah, we have to remember the only 1% that are even gonna get this are, at least for supports, are 1% that have sparkings. So like the biggest one I could possibly see getting a plat is like Blue Super Baby 2.
Okay.
Or maybe Blue Android 21.
Do you think there will be a problem for Regen though if he decides to come back with that? Because then they're gonna heal like no tomorrow.
Regen needs it. They're trash. They're not even trash. They're below standard right now.
Dang. Even with the Piccolo plat, you've got Janimba.
Piccolo Plat barely changed that unit. I'll be so honest with you.
I guess that's why people are still opting in on running the Pycon Gogeta versus the Piccolo. Then I mean Piccolo's still nice. Like he reduces ki, once his gauge is full, and he's got blast
There's
armor on
one.
strike, and his blue
Yeah,
card
the
does some
thing
good
about
damage.
that's true, but everything he does, every pre-revival Pycon's better. Post-revival, Gogeta's better. The only situation where you could argue Piccolo is better is on red green in rank. If you're running red green in LBR, Pycon is better. If you're running red green in rank, Orange Piccolo is better only because he reduces sub counts more on rush. So if you're in a situation with Beast inside and they and they rush, Orange Piccolo reduced it by 9. If you
Wow.
use the Orange Piccolo green and then switch on to Pan and they rushed, that's a reduced by like 7, and you can switch back in.
That's pretty huge. So the
It's the only
sub
situation I see Orange Piccolo is used.
So then, like the sub count manipulation on like the superhero team is really crazy. Yet
Yeah.
they decided to not
Because of rush.
give because of the rush, but they didn't decide to give any kind of tools to Vegeta Clan. No kind of Well, they got a little bit of manipulation, like sub count manipulation, but not enough where you pop a rush or ultimate, your sub goes like to 0, and you can switch in to eat the hits. And I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
don't like y'all.
They don't like Vegeta Clan. I'm gonna stick to that. So then let's move on and talk about the Zenkai Revival Cell, which I think out of the two, he's definitely the one that's impacting the meta, where Android teams are now doing some recomp and changing their lineups, along with what's happening with Proud PvP, which we'll touch on in a little bit. I'll start off with my first impressions, because before this unit is even get a Zenkai, I've already fully Arts Boost them maxed out. Just prepare for his arrival, and seeing him maxed out, I see his attack for strike and blast at 329, 326, and this is post revival with 193 and 194 defenses. Like, that's huge. Post revival, he's gonna come out and do damage. Alongside that, like his death beam, it immobilizes you and refreshes your hand, which only happens once, but he also gets damage inflict, and he gets the key. So like he's gonna hit you with the blue card if he has it, and that blue card does crazy amounts of damage. Like, I mean crazy amounts of damage.
He gets what's it called? He gets type neutral. Like I'll say this right now. I was talking with some people and we were saying like Cell does not only have himself riding on his own back. Cell has every single revival unit riding on his own back. Because if Cell is good, there is no excuse for any revival on Zenkai to be bad. Because the two biggest things everyone was worried about with Zenkais was how are revivals going to work? How are they going to treat revivals on Zenkais? And how they're gonna treat tag units, because they have a very weird habit of on Zenkais they hold back on units for certain aspects, like LF Rose and LF Full Power Frieza. They held back on them because they were natural anti-endurance units. So they said, all right, that should be good enough. So they overvalued it. And as a result, both units aged terribly. They do the same for like certain units. If like, oh, this unit's its peak pre-Zenkai was such a problem for the game, we're going to make them trash. We're looking now at what big thing we're worried about is, okay, revivals, post-revive are like some of the best in the game. Like the options we're looking at is Revhan of all things. Looking at Revhan, well,
the Frieza,
that
the
is like an
revival
actual like
Frieza.
big revival. Frieza, this
Orange
red
Piccolo needs
cell we
one.
were talking about, like
Yep.
these are units that like had very big things who are very good post revival. But then we also have a few like Clapku who was carried by Vados. He himself was not remarkable at anything. He was essentially carried by Vados.
Zenkai, he's
The
gonna be bad too.
Piccolo Gohan unit, which everyone's always called Doghan because he's dog.
Oh my god.
With Cell Zenkai and him being this good, people have hope for units like Clapku and this Doghan coming, and people also have hopes that a unit like Revhan isn't going to be fumbled.
Mm.
They also had the fear. People always also are assuming the fear when it comes to tag units that if they Zenkai them, that they're going to make them cracked because a lot of tag units when they first came were kind of busted,
Mm-hmm.
like Blue Bros and the tag droids. But back to this Cell, I think what they did with him was very good. They focused on making his pre-revival state have utility to eat the rush while having at least some disruption. Just give him a little bit more longevity. And they even gave him kits in this tool to be like, okay, he's at least like not useless pre-revival.
Yeah.
And then post-revival, they made him what everyone wanted him to be, which is essentially like offensively, he's a juggernaut.
The juggernaut. What do you think, Desla? Do you think they did this revival right, or do you think they missed here?
The only real relevance he has is in double color comps, and that's about it. Main reason for that is because you're not running over Super 17. It's not going to happen. Like red comps are probably going to be the move for him for the time being going forward, or is just like a secondary pick. But I've bumped into him I think one time, and it was, let's just say, not the best first impression. I completely washed him, so that was unfortunate. I did run probably his like biggest counter, which was obviously G4. So oops.
Mm-hmm.
But barring that, I think based off reading, his details on paper, he seems pretty good, and it does give me hope that I would enjoy using Revhan on Zenkai because I mean I think I used him on release. I'm pretty sure it's been a while, but yeah, I enjoyed him then. I'll probably enjoy him now when he gets one. So yeah, I'm definitely glad for the inclination it gives that we'll be potentially not having to expect to see, like Lo was mentioned earlier, like units that have things like revival or like tag switching, like potentially being neutered because they
Mm-hmm.
have those, which I'm manifesting it now. Do not make the blue boys underwhelming on Zenkai. I swear to God, if they do that, I'm never gonna forgive them. Don't do it.
Like, I think this is like impossible for them to miss on that one. Like, they literally just gave us like a free copy of the Blue Bros, so it
They
must
found a
be.
way to make LFV be underwhelming on the Zenkai. So
You
yeah,
right. Maybe there
yeah.
is. Maybe there is the
And yeah,
possibility.
VB was one of the units they specifically said, yo, we actually hate this unit.
I mean, y'all
Terrible.
designed them, not me. So
Now,
whatever.
when Revon gets his Zenkai, because it's not even an if at this point, it's a win. Since now we've got the cell that got his, I'm actually going to be pretty afraid of that, just due to his green card pre-revival giving sub count manipulation to just come in and out in the field. He was already supporting as is, and then post revival, hey, as the AOE green card, and we know how AOE green cards are in this game, so that's going to allow him to do stupid amounts of things once he gets that, and then Sun Family is back on top yet again.
What else is new? But yeah, no. I think post Zenkai, it was the case when he came out, and it'll definitely be the case when he gets to Zenkai, but he'll be just the best character, like pre-revival state goes, because
Mm-hmm.
he's just even like before reviving, he's doing so much. Like it's ridiculous. So I'm
Agreed.
definitely looking
That
forward
was back
to
then. Now he
yeah.
definitely can't do.
Oh well, I mean, hey,
Whoa, power creep, power creep.
yeah. Well, yeah. I
Power
mean,
creep.
post
I
Zenkai,
think
yeah,
what he
post
needs,
Zenkai.
I think what he needs is his pre-revival needs to like have some sort of disruption on cover change. The green card needs to have some sort of give you key
Mm-hmm.
and possibly give him like some more stuff to reduce sub counts when he's on standby. Possibly give him like the orange pickle effect of, oh, if the opponent rushes, reduce his own sub count by 4. Post revive, honestly, just let the blue card go type neutral.
No, whoa, hold on. I don't know about that. We already
That's a
know
little big.
that's a little that's a reach. I'm gonna call cap on that. We can't allow that to happen. We
Their
can
Gohan bias is going to show again, though, so I wouldn't put it past him at all.
like. Do you remember how much damage he was doing back then off the blue card? And you
He
want him
still
to?
does damage now.
Yeah.
He still can.
He's
The other big thing. His other big thing is he has a card issue. So the big thing about Revhan is that the way he gets cards, I don't like. Like Revhan naturally has no card draw speed.
but
He
I'm
naturally like, has nothing. You don't get it until his main post transformation. It's +1 for 30 counts. One needs some way of having +1 just naturally. And the only other way he gets cards is by entering the battlefield. And it depends on if he comes in and you have full team, it's 1. And then if you have at least 1 dead ally, he gets 2. But like even then, that's not enough for a unit like him to ramp up. He needs some way of getting cards, like either give him cards on like sidestep or on green card, or like he draws a strike twice, or he draws a new card twice after like on entry after using a card too. Like he needs
mm-hmm.
He needs a better way of like ramping,
Yeah, and I think they'll
even
give
though
him
his
that.
ramping is good.
Yeah, but they'll give them that though. Like this trend that we're seeing with these top tier units is within the first unique, you see X amount of damage inflicted cannot be canceled, X amount of reduced damage received or sustained damage cut, and then draw card art speed cannot be canceled. Like just look at the green 16 that came out, very first unique. Those first three things is pretty much a guarantee with a lot of these units that are coming out nowadays. So I'd be surprised if they don't give Revhan that treatment, especially him being a very popular unit at that time. Just seeing the overall meta impact with him getting his Zenkai, there's no way they not give him draw card art speed. And if they don't, then the devs don't want him to be good. That's just that simple. But obviously, what do you think about Zenkai Red Cell? I know you're still trying to get him Zenkai'd up to Z7 so you can give your overall full deep dive impression, but just off of his initial impressions from what you've seen, do you think that Android comps are going to be changing, or you think Page will just turn into a second option, or what?
Right now for Androids, it's so incredibly huge for them to actually have a good revival unit, because aside from LF17, the old one, we didn't have any rush safety.
Mm-hmm.
We had none of that, and you could just nullify endurance if you're in with the wrong unit with 17.
That's true. Like the only thing they had was like the final counter stuff, where if you rushed a purple cell, yeah, he'll die, but he'll also take a good chunk of health with him related to those teams. That and Magenta, there we go. The Magenta, he also does that. So now they actually have like a true person that can eat the rush regardless of if you nullify endurance. I can see where that comes into play. But as for the team comp, is red, red, green the way to go? Or is it
I'd
red,
say
red,
red,
purple?
red, purple. Red, red, purple.
Ah.
Green is too relevant in the meta right now, especially the Bardock side of Goku and Bardock, to the point where it's a risk to run anything but a purple.
Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
Goku and Bardock are just going to run through your team if you don't have that.
That's true, because they can just switch and then proceed to go in no lube.
I think at this point, I think the unit will come back. Like Revhan Zenkai will come back. Cell, like we said, he's good. You're mostly gonna run him on like double red setups because regen is strike based. Regen doesn't seem to be blast based at all right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regen could be blast. So here's the funny thing. Depending on what the ultra is, regen could be blast based. I'm not even gonna joke with you on that. Because hypothetically saying, say it's ultra cell, right? And he's blue and he's blast based. That helps. That's the perfect thing for both regen and for droids. Because droids will like think about that. It'll be if he's blue. Let's say he's blue. Droids will have Super 17, LF Cell, and then this Ultra Cell. Regen will have this Ultra Cell, LF Cell, and then Revival Cell. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a triple cell setup, and it'll be good.
Yeah, and I think that would be perfect too to see a triple cell setup as well, alongside with all of the busted Android equips that they have. Like they have the platinum equips that give you pure and base. It'll definitely make an impact if they do turn them into a blast base. But with this Rose banner being released and Rose being strike, do you think that there's any kind of like indication that they could make him a strike base unit, or maybe a defensive type unit like the GT Goku?
I'll be honest with you. I think they only did it simply because they were like Future doesn't have any other Ultra
Yeah.
other than UVB, and UVB they're not bringing back right now. So they're just like the only other option is Zamasu. We're just gonna throw Zamasu.
Well, I mean, at this point, like
I think that's
Future would
the
have
thing.
3 ultras, because then they'll have Ultra VB, they'll have the Ultra Rose, and then an Ultra Cell. So that would be like a triple Ultra lineup if they decide to go that route.
Yeah, they want to like knock out all the ultras as soon as possible, which they're just like, and they want for certain tags, they just want to get the ultras possible for them out of the way. Like for like Universe reps, the only ultras that's really left for them is hypothetically an Evo Ultra, which I doubt. An
Mm-hmm.
Evo Ultra, which is like it feels low that it would happen. MUI, which is guaranteed, that's gonna happen. And like you could maybe argue for Jiren and maybe LF17. I mean, an MVP 17 Ultra, like that's it. You already got hit. You
Mm-hmm.
already got Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. You already got UI. Like the options are limited.
For that team anyways. It'll probably take some time for Universe reps to get any additional buffs when they just gave them a whole brand new 6 on the last festival. So
Oh,
hopefully
I'll be so honest with you. I don't see Universe Reps getting a buff for the rest of the year.
Same.
Good.
We don't need it.
The reason for this is because people called this. I called this too because I know because we said like hold on, they're giving like Universe Reps a lot of buffs this year for some reason. So what people were guessing was they're essentially, and if this is true, and we based on how this year goes, I want to see what they do. Is that the devs are treating the plan seems to be that they'll have one tag that'll be the encompassing tag that represents the year. That tag will get buffed once at the beginning of the year. Well, twice at the beginning of the year with two banners.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll get nothing for a bit. Then that tag will get possibly a third one. Possibly they'll get the tag will get 2 to 3 before Annie. Then they'll get one for Annie, and then they'll get nothing till festival. Because look what happened last year. Universe got 17, and they got Rev UI, and they got hit, and they got nothing till anniversary with Go Frieza and them, and they got nothing again until festival with Evoken and UI. Compare that to this year. 2 back-to-back buffs. Spirit Bomb, Super 17. I wouldn't be surprised if one more GT buff ends up coming before Annie. And then Annie will have most likely what people are guessing Ultra G4. So then there'll be another buff there. And then GT will go on another little hiatus. And then they'll get a buff for festival.
Which,
possibly 2.
I mean, we're quickly approaching towards like that year. Like we're almost into March. So what, 3 months in, and then bam, we're already in the year 6. We're year 6, right? That's crazy.
Yep,
It's been
year
6
6.
years of this game being act. That is nuts.
6 years of this game giving us stress.
Yeah, which Proud PvP is causing some additional stress for some. So then let's go ahead and move on and talk about the main topic for the podcast, which is Proud Ranked PvP. So for those who may have not noticed, the traditional ranked PvP icon has been replaced with Proud Ranked PvP, which has changed the whole shift of how people construct their teams. Typically, with a lot of traditional teams, you'll have your front 3, and then you'll probably have like a Zenkai bench with an HP bench bumper. Now, with the Proud Rank PvP, you have a set match. So you could either, it goes up to 3 or best of 2. So if you win one, if your opponent decides to move on to the next match, then you have a second match with that same opponent. If you lose that and you guys are tied, you both can agree to move on to the Proud match, which you're able to utilize the units that you first chose on the first round, and then units you've also chosen on the second round, which allows you to duke it out with a special OST, which I'm gonna shout out right now. Shout out to the devs on this one. That OST actually hitting. But you pretty much play a set of 3 if it's a 1-1. Now, people who had those mono purple teams, throw that in the trash unless you gonna guarantee lose game 2 and you move on to game 3. But I've been hearing a lot of backlash on Twitter and other social media, people saying like, oh, I hate it, I'm just trying to win my one and get out of here, or now I gotta switch my team up and I don't know what to run. We'll start off with you, Desla. How has Proud Rank PvP affected your teams and your overall take? And then if you're able to, give it like a 1 out of 5 rating. Like, do you give it a 1, 2, 3, or whatever?
I'm honestly a big fan. I won't even lie to you. Like, at the moment currently, like, I'm sorry, dude. The moment, not even the moment, Zenkais in general, I'll say this with my chest out always, are the worst thing this game's ever dropped. Just dead ass.
The worst?
Be for real about it. The worst thing. The reason for it is because I'm sorry, but they are just the laziest form of balance changes ever. Just straight up. Because they don't even bother changing Z abilities for one, so that's like why even bother at that point? Because you have so many units who could be, again, good at least for bench purposes, but they don't change their Z abilities. So what's the point? On top of that, you have it to where, again, we make these characters, even though they made them free, you need to be around for when their missions are live, and if you miss it, then you have to go through the painstaking process of getting their Z power through USDR through weeks on end if you want to go the free route, or Lord forbid if you want to rush it with CC or whatever. But regardless, I don't know. I just, as a whole, I've always had distaste for Zenkais, honestly. I've never liked them. The idea that I'm able to have a mode where I can completely throw away Zenkai bench, I'm all for. Put my hands in the air, I'll celebrate that to the end of time itself, because I hate Zenkais. I hate them. Honest to God, dude, just for that, I'm all for it, honestly. As a whole, in terms of how I feel about it right now, honestly, dude, I'm here for it because we have for the longest time been wanting the ability to be able to actually rematch people in this game. And now we finally have that option. Obviously, this is the preseason, so there are definitely some tweaks that can be implemented for sure. It's not perfect, obviously. Like, for example, I would prefer it to where for a rematch, both parties decide they want to do it, not just the losing party, because sometimes there is a situation where you just want to do a one and done, you want to just dip. So, especially if we're going to have this mode replace ranked entirely, then I think that's the least they can do. Regardless, again, it's encouraged way more like diverse team building, I guess, to be looked at. Ever since LFVB dropped, to be honest with you, has not required a lot of critical thinking to play. It just hasn't. It's shook things up enough to where I'm having a moderate amount of fun. I'm not going like, oh man, I can't wait to play Legends. It's just like, now as opposed to before where it's like, I guess I'll do it to kill time. It's like, oh, yeah, sure, why not?
So it's like a refresh.
Yeah,
kind of
pretty
like
much.
refreshing.
It's very refreshing, yeah.
Yep, thank God. But no, overall though, I'm definitely a big fan of it. Obviously, like I said before, they can definitely do some things to tweak it, make it better, but that's hence why it's the preseason. So obviously, I'm sure they'll listen to feedback and pay attention to it and implement accordingly. But what I've been doing is I've been running Saiyan and GT comps for it, kind of like flopping back and forth for that, and they're mad fun. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So what's your 6? What is the 6 on your GT team that you're running right now?
So what I typically do for round 1 for Saiyans, I mean it's the Saiyan team everyone knows. PyCon, UI Sign, and then Goku and Bardock. And then what I do for round 2 to challenge myself, because I want to. I could obviously maybe switch those units around into round 1, but I don't really like doing that. Is I literally have my bench that I have mainly for those front 3 being when I run for round 2. So I do Yellow Zenkai Bardock, I do G4, and then I do Spirit Bomb Goku.
Okay.
So I enjoy doing that, honestly, and dude, Proud matches just
they hit
typically
different.
When I get there, they do, well, I mean, it's like you mentioned before, the OST definitely helps for sure, but on top of that, it just feels like when I get to actually have a run back with somebody that there's been multiple times where I'll be honest about this, again, like I mentioned before, this game is not competitive in any way, shape, or form. It just isn't. But the fact that I'm able to finally have a chance to run back with somebody that there's been multiple times in the past where I know I could beat someone's ass if I got one more run back in. I know I could. I
now
just
you can get
badly.
it.
I can get it. And dude, I have not lost a single set yet.
Wow.
Not a single one. Nope. And I've played probably about 30 matches now. 30 sets. Again, big fan of it. Obviously, again, they could tweak things for the future going forward. If this can be... I'm not even really someone who's advocating for it being a separate mode. If this wants to be the standard, go for it. Go nuts.
All right, Glow, I know you got some things to say about this. What do you think of the new Proud PvP ranking system? You think it's a wash, or you think it's a good thing?
I hate it.
All of it?
I don't hate all of it, but overall I hate it.
All right,
I at first I like the idea of it. I hate the execution. The execution of this is really bad. So I understand why. So the reason the devs made this mode, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not to spice up PvP. The reason the devs did this mode is because they are trying to address quite possibly one of the biggest issues that has haunted this game since the Zenkai meta. And you can Dessa can probably guess what it is. What is one of the biggest issues that has happened because of the Zenkais?
I mean, Zenkai buffing bench.
Super juiced up teams.
Zenkai benches have been quite possibly the most catastrophic thing that Zenkais have caused in this game, and it's gotten to the point where it is almost impossible to nerf it outright.
Yeah,
that's why I
because
hate them.
that's why you see now that there's certain units that'll get Zenkais and they purposely screw them over on their bench to the point where it's oh, they're so trash. Look at SS LF Evo. If he was God Key or Yellow Universe Reps, think about how cracked he would be as a bench right now.
Yep.
He'd be phenomenal. But they chose the worst option, Vegeta Clan. Why? Because they've made Zenkai benches an issue. To the point where certain teams don't even have access to Zenkai benches. Look at movies. Movies Zenkai bench is trash. Overall, it's trash. They barely have anything for any colors. And the ones they do have are really bad because of their Z abilities.
Single stat only.
Look at you, but then compare that to a team like Universe Reps. Amazing Zenkai benches. Compare that to a team like PO, which is getting really good Zenkai benches. Compare that to Saiyans, which has good Zenkai benches, except for their red option, which is really bad. Their red option's bad. Their green option is aged. Their purple option has aged, but their blue and their yellow options are phenomenal. They've realized that, oh crap, we've made Zenkai benches and juiced up setups a problem because they keep creeping up back on them. So they made this new game mode to incentivize people to say, stop running juice setups, Go
Mm-hmm.
back to how it used to be and run a team of 6, which I don't like it because it's simply for the fact of you're forcing me to spend essentially 10 minutes to fight one person. I'm wasting 10 minutes of my time to fight one person 3 times possibly at most. And I'm getting the RP for it. So mind you, you think like, okay, you're getting the RP. Like the RP amount you get, I think that's good. Problem is, when you know how you have to do the 10 matches to get your season rewards,
Mm-hmm.
one set with somebody only counts towards one of those 10.
Okay.
So you can do 3 matches with somebody. Towards the matches you need to do to get your season rewards, it'll only count as 1. So you're doing anywhere between 20 to 30 matches to be eligible for season rewards,
Yeah, that's a lot. So
which
they
is
could revamp that to where it counts as rounds
they
instead
need
of
to fix
matches.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is loopholes to it. Certain content creators have put it out there that you don't need to run 6 units. You could simply run a juiced up setup and then forfeit the next match and not care. Because no matter what, you'll still get your RP.
Mm-hmm.
You'll still get the RP that you need. I think the problem with it is that the new game mode is too tedious. The whole point of PvP was I could hop in a match real quick, fight somebody, duke it out, on to the next one, or maybe okay, that's the only one I want to do. This new mode, it's just not fun. It's tedious. I don't have the time to like. It's to the point where now when you're playing Legends, like you can't even do. Some people can't. Some people used to play this game like, oh, we're doing it on our lunch break. You can't even do that. You have to genuinely dedicate time out of your day now to play Legends with this new game mode, and that's ridiculous. Like, and
Yeah.
I think they should have made this game mode separate than normal PvP, but I know why they did that. Because they knew this thing was going to be flawed, because they want to force it on us to see how can this deal with Zenkai benches, because they made a mistake and they want to force the solution on us. And because I'm telling you right now, if they made this a whole separate game mode, nobody would play it.
And that's not going to help the population at all. You're going to be sitting in queue, like waiting for a match for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's not going to work out.
Exactly. And mind you, we're doing all this extra tediousness for the same 1k CC we always get. The same 1,000 chrono crystals we get every season. That's all we're getting for this nonsense. I think
Mm.
this is trash. I think they're going to piss off a lot of the fans because of this. And mind you, one of the big things that they use for their tracking to show whether people are like the game is in a good state is how often and how long people are playing on the game.
Yeah.
This is forcing people to be on the game long. If people are generally fed up, I'm telling you right now, just don't play this season. Like this season is trash. Like what is 1,000 chrono crystals? One multi? It's not gonna like come on now, for real. Like this is the one season where I'm like, I wouldn't even blame people if they just like you are 40 times guy rank player. You don't want to play this season at all. I wouldn't even blame you.
Mm.
No one likes this season. Content creators don't like it. Competitive players don't like it. Even people who grind the game are like sick of it. They think it's like disgusting because it's essentially 3 times the grind.
So what do you think about that? Do you like ranked PvP, or do you agree with Glow and calling it a wash, or what?
I'm a little bit in between where I like the idea of it, and depending on what team you're running, it could really affect like your actual like play style and of course what units you're using. Like with all the Zenkai buffing and juicing up just 3 units, it's fun to actually use other units than just the same 3 units.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree that after this preseason and they go and tweak it a lot, I think they should make it a separate thing for like going forward. Because to just force it on us like this, it's not that good. No, it should absolutely be a separate thing.
So then I got a mixed opinion on this because I've seen some posts on Twitter about how people like I don't want to stay in the same match. I'm just gonna forfeit the second match, and people are looking at like their match history and all it shows draw, draw, draw because they just don't want to fight the same person the second time. I personally like the idea of the ranked proud PvP. There's obviously some changes which I'm gonna go over some of my opinions on that, but this will allow more intricate team building instead of I'm gonna pick my front three and juice them to hell with Zenkai benches or and stuff and just run it that way. Now you're forced to, think about your first and secondary options, which will give more units light to actually run instead of I'm gonna run Beast Gohan, I'm gonna run Pan, and I'm gonna run Piccolo. Like you can actually like create a superhero team and throw in the Gammas or some of the other units that could really put some light on the actual tags itself. I also believe that this is going to show some of the issues with a lot of the other tags in the game, because they don't have a full color wheel or even have a six to even put on one team. Like if you want to run Dragon Ball or something, like your six is not looking too great. If you want to run LOE, your six is horrendous. But if you want to run hybrids, they got a lot of tools. They got a lot of equips. They got a lot of like things in their arsenal to make them good. Or if you want to run future, that'll also show some light on some of the changes they can be making, and which will also kind of eliminate the whole, Zenkai benches, because we know how we feel about that. Also, the whole leader slot. Like I've heard mixed reviews in the past where it's like, I hate the leader slot because you can just put Ultra UI on every single team and it works. Now, when you get into that second match, you can't run UI on the second round. You got to think about your whole overall team building, which is also going to shed some light to some of the other tags saying, hey, this tag only has one good unit, or hey, this one unit is an extreme problem. We need to find other ways to like balance out the game. And on top of that, like with other more competitive games, like let's say fighting games and stuff like that, because I have a TCG or a FGC background of like playing competitively and stuff. And even in card games, you play a set. You don't play one and then, I'm gone. I'm gonna get my W and be out. No, you play a set. You get the best of two and you square it up. And then some people say, well, I don't want to fight the same opponent the second time. Well, just believe that it's a different opponent. Like, what's the difference? If you washed them the first time, you're going to wash them the second time instead of washing up another random player. It's the same thing. And on top of that, I mean, you're being compensated on RP. The rewards could change. They could definitely do something about that. But as for like RP gains, I mean, you're getting more from running it as a set. And if people really don't like running Proud, they should implement a feature where you're able to opt out of Proud. Maybe go into like the system settings and say opt out of rematches or whatever. So you only play them once and then you move on. But people who are opt in to Proud, you have the ability to do sets with. That way you can keep it on one mode. You don't got to split it. And then people who are not opt into the feature, they only play one round and that's it. And the people who want to play for the goods, they can play the set. That's my opinion. Or they could up the rewards on Proud and give maybe 2 KCC instead of 1 KCC, or 1 KCC with like 600 LFZ power, because we have so many LFs in the game. They could definitely incorporate some additional resources that people can use. That way it adds more incentives to actually grind Proud PvP. There's plenty of things that they can do, but just right now it's clunky. It's definitely clunky. And then with the whole 5.0, people can't even freaking log in to even play the goddamn game. What are y'all thoughts on that? Do you think that I'm just speaking hot air or what?
I mean, I like mostly pretty much, again, I'm in the boat where I think out of all of us, I'm probably the most positive on it. Like, just straight up. Again, it just boils down to how much I hate Zenkais, like, straight up. Again, I will make that my case. At the end of time itself, it's one of, if not the worst mistake they ever made in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And again, having a mode, yes, I can agree with the sentiment that it shouldn't be forced on everybody, but at the same time, the fact that at least the preseason means that I get to at least see it in action, and it is just so refreshing not seeing juice comps every single game in God Rank, or even just in PvP in general. Like before I even get to God Rank, if I do, like just being able to see finally after like literal years a full team of 6 again. After what feels like, I don't even know, man. Like literally, I think it's actually been since probably like early 2021 was the last time that I think they were really in Providence. Like
2 years. Wow.
I mean, yeah, at least. So obviously they can iron out some kinks. Hence why I'm not gonna be super negative on it, because the fact that again, it's, as the name says, it's preseason. It's meant to be
the test
for
run.
everything, right? If we still have the same problems when the thing is actually like in its full swing and it's like Proud season #1 and we have the same problems, then okay, I get it at that point. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not gonna be jumping on the hate bandwagon just yet. Like I'm not gonna be calling this the worst thing Legends has ever done. And oh dear God, this is so awful. Like the game's unplayable. I can't do it. Oh my God, this, that, whatever. Like again, that just comes off like just like whining and to me. I'm gonna be honest. Like again, I'm in the boat where right now, man, I'm down for overthrowing things that devs have shown to me they're comfortable with, or they're too scared to change. Yes, is this a drastic change? For sure, absolutely. But am I for it? if it's, you know, tweaked and then actually changed accordingly in ways that most of the player base would like, absolutely. Breath of fresh air, and I'm not going to be dogging it just yet because, again, preseason.
All
Yeah,
right.
me on the other hand, I'm a negative Nancy. Fuck that.
He said, I
Bro,
hate
woke
it.
up
I'm gonna
Throw it
be
hate.
so
away.
honest with you, bro. They really put everybody in such a bad mood after this Vegeta that honestly, nah,
Transfer
I'm
hate.
not for any credit, nothing. They've single handedly pissed off so many people already with this Vegeta that like, nah, people just got to be honest and let it loose. Like it got problems. It's a bad mode right now, and it's literally them trying to once again do what they normally do, which is sell us a solution to a problem they created. Mind you, a problem that nobody asked for to happen. Because remember, nobody asked for Zenkai. Nobody asked for the 14-star update. We were simply happy with balance changes and the way stars already were. But the devs decided to be greedy, make a new system, and it has had nothing but bad repercussions ever since.
Yeah, like it's not a hot take to say that year one and then a good chunk of year two was the game's like golden age for sure. After that, oh
And we
no.
can pinpoint the immediate crash.
Mm-hmm.
Second inning.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. That was the epitome of if you don't pull the premium unit, drop the game.
I know I didn't.
Yeah, and we know how that turned out. Yeah,
I'm gonna give it some time, and
yeah. I'm in the same boat.
I know that there's room for improvement for sure. This will kind of shed some light for individuals who are really down for competitive when it comes to PvP. If you want to opt in for the proud, you can. If you want to opt out and just do the one and done and just do the grind from there, I mean, that's fine too. But I really think they should try to incentivize people to play the proud version by either giving more rewards, maybe different card sleeves, who knows, like more things saying, yeah, I do run backs and I'm the bees D's, come see me, come catch these hands type stuff, versus I'm just in it to get in and get out. Because personally, if you're just trying to play PvP to get in and get out, just do treasure battle. Don't do treasure battle work on your dailies? Does that work on your dailies?
It does, yeah.
Do treasure battle then.
Yeah.
The content creators, they're ripping it because it's like, man, I can't use my premium unit that I summoned for because every other match I have to switch to my secondary. What they could do.
Goresh is already using Treasure Bell for showcases, so
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're complaining. That's their fix. There you go.
There you go. You just play treasure battle. That should be where it is anyway. If you want to run juiced up teams where you only have 3 units that you want to fight with 24/7, play treasure battle. But if you want to go ahead and run where you have to use the full capabilities of your 6 instead of, getting 5,000% Z ability bonus on a single color, then play treasure battle. You know what I'm saying? It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! You want to go ahead and play TCG or you want to play like friendlies, like people who have a background in card games, you know how some of these harder decks can play where you can just bust up and do a combo and win turn 0. Build a deck that can deal with that. That's it. Change with the meta. Adapt. That's it. That concludes our talk related to the update. So we'll do like a final check-in. So ranking 1 to 10, we'll go around the room. What would you guys give this overall update, including the Proud Rush? We'll start for you, Desla. 1 out of 10. What's your rating?
7.5.
All right. Glow, I already know you hit 2-1. What's your rating?
Man, can I give a negative score?
Yeah, go ahead. Give a negative score.
Bro is just a born hater. Dear God, it ain't that bad.
I'm gonna give it like a negative, like a light negative 20.
A light negative 20. All right. So beneath 6 feet. That's crazy. So what about you? What is your overall ranking 1 to 10?
I'd give it a 6.
All right. So I'm going to go also with the 7. Like, despite the server issues of people logging in and stuff and their execution of Proud, there's definitely a lot of potential with that game mode and some adjustments they can implement for individuals who want to go for something like that versus, going into just doing their one match and do the traditional grind that way. I think they can make some changes to that, but just more game knowledge, which I know in our last episode we talked about, Professor, of like just having a better understanding of what your opponent has, like buffs and stuff. On the character selection screen, you can see your opponent's equipment now instead of just seeing like, the gray, like, oh, it's God or Z plus or whatever. You can see like what equipment they have. So you can say, oh, they build their Super 17 hella offensive, or oh, they build their MVP 17 defensive, so that's their tank. I gotta watch out for that. I think that was a really nice touch, just giving more game knowledge to the players so they can make better decisions on how they should tackle certain characters. For Dragon Ball related news, Manga 102 translations are now out, which looks like there's some snippets of Gohan versus Goku. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, you can. And then there was also a new Kakarot trailer that was dropped where Goku and Vegeta duke it out. Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 2 and Goku fights him at Super Saiyan 3 at the end of Z. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, by all means, please do. But that is it for the Rising Rush podcast today. So again, tune in every Friday where we talk about everything Dragon Ball related news, meta, hot takes, updates, everything. Outside of that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.